It's so weird. Guys will tell you their preferences. They will tell you you have to be tall, thin, skinny, look like a model, you have to have a big butt, BBL. I said I didn't want to date someone with varicose veins because it's not something that I'm used to. And it's like, I saw somebody with varicose veins. I didn't know it was varicose veins. And I thought somebody was an abuse victim. And I'm like freaked out. And I don't know what's going on. I'm thinking somebody was abused. And I'm in the hospital and I'm reporting this. And then the doctor's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "They're covered in bruises." And they're like, "No, that's varicose veins." And I'm like freaked out because it's like, that's scary. I thought they were an abuse victim. And it's like, I don't want to make a mistake or something and do something. It's like, I've never seen that. And it's like, it made me uncomfortable because I'm thinking, is this person being like seriously physically abused? Because I don't know if it was a really bad case or what, but I was just shocked by it when I saw it. So I was like, in my dating profile, I didn't want to date somebody with varicose veins. And plus, it's not something that I've seen often because, like, you've seen my hand, my arm, or whatever, in like my gardening videos. I'm brown. I haven't seen too many brown people with varicose veins, or if they have had it, it's not as visible. So it's like, and it's like, I don't even live in that much of a diverse area, but it's just not something that I've seen frequently. And from my understanding, most people get it in their legs. So it's not something that I've seen often or really ever. And it freaked me out. And it was like, you'd think if somebody's going to get mad at me for who I wouldn't date, you'd think I would have said something a lot worse. And then I also said, because in my experience, I grew up spending a lot of time in like retirement homes and with older people. And some people age differently. And I grew up in a diverse area, and not many people, because it's like I've seen people with like gray strands or anything, but I haven't seen like too many people with like full on gray hair and like certain things like that and like a lot of wrinkles, because a lot of people that are melanated and stuff, they don't really have that happen. And it's like, I'm not even saying I grew up in the most diverse place or anything, but I just wasn't exposed to that. And it's like different. And I'm just thinking in a dating relationship perspective, I don't want to be like 60 and married to somebody and then somebody's all and people are always like, "Oh, that guy she's with is a cradle robber," and all this stuff. It's like, I'm not saying that's going to prevent me from being with somebody, but that would just be uncomfortable if we're like both in our 60s and stuff and people are like they're cradle robbing, because it's like I get that now because I've dated guys that are younger than me, and then people are like, "Okay, he's too old for you." And I'm like, I'm a lot older than him. And it's like awkward. And it's especially awkward when I'm the older person and people are like, "He's too old for you." And I'm not even saying I'm the best looking person around or anything. I'm not even saying I'm close to the best looking person. But like some guy, because I said that on my dating profile, he like went off on me. And it was like I was just sharing some experiences and stuff and like asking questions. Because like I don't understand something guys do. And I thought, why not put it on a dating profile for guys that are looking to date? Ask them like, why do guys do this? The guys that have done it that I've gone out with, I've asked them. And then I've asked other guys and they're like, "Oh, I don't do that," but then they do it. So it's like, I don't understand male logic. And I also, because I've seen stuff where people talk about stuff about their dating experiences online, but it's more of an urban perspective. And I get more of like, I'm in the suburbs, like real suburbs. And because I'm a minority, people think, oh, you're this way, but it's like, I'm not that way. But my friend's that way, who's the white girl in the suburbs, because people always think, oh, you're the brown girl, you're the one that's doing all this. It's like, nope, I'm not doing that. That's what my white friend's doing. I'm more the conservative one. And it's like kind of surprising, but I was so shocked because the hate is like really weird, because I'm short, but I have genes. Like if I had a kid, I could have a kid that's tall. Everybody in my family is pretty much tall but me. I'm like the only one in my family that's not like tall. Like my parents were well above average height. My siblings are like over 6 foot, but I'm short. And so if I had a kid, I could have a kid that's actually quite tall if I did have a kid with somebody that had tall genes. But that would be great to have a kid that's average, that's above average height. Because most likely I probably will if I ever had a kid with someone that was above average height, because they have genes above average height. But I don't know. I grew up in the suburbs, so you can kind of assume what that means. And most people are above average height or average height. And basically, pretty much everybody I've dated has been really close to 6 feet tall or over 6 feet tall. I've dated guys 6'8", 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", 6'3", 6 foot. And in recent years, I started dating guys like, well, actually, not in recent years. I've dated guys that were like 5'11", 5'10". Shortest I've ever dated is probably a 5'10". But also, shorter guys don't really ask me out that much. And then some guys that try and ask me out, they might be shorter or something. Actually, well, short guys don't really ask me out that much when I think about it. But I don't know. It's been an interesting experience. And then, because it's just a preference, I guess. And it's like something that happened. It wasn't my fault that guys over 6 foot tend to ask me out. And then the interesting part, I'm getting a lot of hate from Asian men on dating sites, because like I get a lot of love hate. It's like a love hate relationship with Asian men. And the thing that's interesting, Asian men that are not American born generally like me, and they ask me out, and then they're nice and I'll date them. And they're also, and most of them tend to be taller. But then like American Asian men, and it's not even, it's the suburban, or the suburban or the woke. The suburban and the woke Asian men, they tend to get upset with me and they freak out on me, and it's like I don't understand. And generally when I say suburban um or woke, they're suburban woke, and they tend to be East Asian that go off on me. Cuz like West Asian, South Asian, it's like we're friendly, we might not go out, but we can still be friends. It's like the American woke suburban East Asian man that's shorter tends to go off on me, and like we just go crazy, because I had that happen to me not last night but the night before, and I was just like shocked. And I'm like, this is crazy. It's like I said nothing to offend you directly or even about Asian people or anything. And he's like, I'm a horrible human being. And I'm just like, okay, this is weird. And it's like, guys say they won't date somebody fat. They'll tell you their race. They won't date people with like all this stuff, a whole list of people and types of people they will not date. I said gray hair and varicose veins and wrinkles. Genetically speaking, not everyone like fully goes into like wrinkled face falling gray hair and stuff. And it's like people have this idea that's portrayed of what you look like when you're old. Because, like, think about it. Like, people talk about now, like, the Golden Girls, and that's what, like, you look like in your 40s and 50s. Today, a lot of people do not look like that in their 40s and 50s. That was a misconception of what people look like in their 40s and 50s. And even, like, with the modern day Sex in the City, it's like they've dyed their hair. They might have had Botox and different things. Who knows? But I know they definitely dye their hair because some of them look like they had gray hair. But the difference is, if that was like a more diverse cast, because like you look at some of these actors that are out there and they're older, like look at Holly Berry. She's like almost 60, and she doesn't have like gray hair and wrinkles. Or let me think, who else is out there that's like pushing 50, or like pushing 60 or whatever, 50. There are a lot of people that are out there that don't have crow's feet, wrinkles, gray hair, and like their face falling down. Like Jennifer Lopez. She's like in her like mid 50s and she looks great. And who else? Because I'm thinking like Holly Berry, Mariah Carey, and like all these other people that are like out there famous and they still look nice. Oh, I just saw a preview of, what was it? The Chai, and like Lynn Whitfield, I think she's like pushing 70 and she looks great. Oh, and then like another person, because I just saw this because I love this movie. The Ghostbusters guy, Ernie Hudson, he's like pushing 80 and like look at him. He's like what I expect for somebody that's like, I'm not saying you need to be as athletic as him or anything, but he looks like an 80-year-old to me, like what a normal 80-year-old looks like. Or like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he might have had stuff done. But Ernie Hudson, he looks like he's like more athletic than most 80-year-olds or whatever, but he's what I expect like an 80-year-old to look like. Like my grandfather's a little bit older than him, and he's older, but he's not covered in like wrinkles and stuff. He doesn't he just looks like an older man, but like if you saw him compared to like some other people, you might think he might be in his 70s or something. But that's what I expect when I think about older people, to look like Holly Berry, Ernie Hudson, Lynn Whitfield. um and I didn't even grow up in the most diverse place, and I'm not, and they're like high maintenance older people. I'm just talking about like basic older people, like everyday older people. And it's like seeing somebody with like a full head of white hair, that's not normal to me. I didn't see that growing up. It's like a few streaks of gray, or like your hair is turning gray. It's like seeing it here and there, but like seeing everybody turning gray and wrinkly and everything, that's not my normal. And I'm a full-fledged adult and I still haven't really seen that too much, unless somebody's like really sick or something. But I don't understand the hate. And it's like the weird thing. It's like, why am I getting this hate from Americanized, woke, suburban East Asian men? And I'm like, wait, what? Because if it was like an urban American born East Asian man, he wouldn't be doing all that. He would try and ask me out or something, because that's normally what happens. But it's like, I don't understand like the calling out, like the meanness. I don't know. It's like strange because I'm getting this hate. And then I got hate for watching the news and reading, because I'm a big fan of religion, learning about different religions. That's what my parents taught me to do. They sent me to different places to learn about different cultures, religions, and everything. And I was just talking to this guy. It was on a dating website, because I talk to everybody. And I ask pretty much everybody this question when it comes to mine, because it's a question I like to know. Because one time I was on a dating website and I was talking to somebody and he put his name out there. So I Googled it. Turns out he was a sex offender. So I made it a point to always ask if somebody's been to jail. I ask if you've been to jail, if you have kids, because I'm not going to date somebody with kids for the simple fact it's not going to work out because I'm going to want to try and get you back with your ex. And then also, if you have kids and your kids are like under 5 and you're single, I don't want to date you because it's like, what happened there? Because that just makes me think if you did that to them, who knows, you might do that to me if we ever got serious. I would not date somebody with a kid under 5 or a kid in general because it's like, I don't want to see a family broken up. I'm going to want to get you back together. And it's like, I don't see this relationship working if I'm trying to get you with somebody else. And then I just don't like the idea that you left this person that you had a kid with and this person's with a toddler, a baby, this young child, and you left them already. That's just not a good feeling for me. Um, but I always ask people if they've been to jail and if they have kids. So, because there's certain things, because I was just talking to this guy about jail and everything and seeing if he was gone, if he went to jail or prison. Because you know how when sometimes you talk to people and they're on the dating sites, they have their pictures up. Their pictures look fake and they look photoshopped, or sometimes they just put up their jail cell picture and they're like honest. But this guy, his pictures, they look funny. And it's like, you know, when you're like making pictures and you're like not in the picture, but you put a background there and it looks funny. And it looked like he did that. And this guy, he seemed really ignorant because I'm like, are you in jail? Because his pictures look funny. And, and I'm like, did you Photoshop them? No. And he's getting like defensive and angry and everything. And I'm just like trying to figure out, is this guy trying to scam me or what? Because there's so many scammers out there. And I'm just saying, like, some telltale signs. A lot of people that are in prison, they tend to convert to Islam when they go to prison. And he identified as Muslim. He also had the pictures that looked fake, like he was photoshopping. And then he was just so angry and bitter. But then again, some guys in jail are like not so angry and bitter. And sometimes they're nice because there was this one guy I was joking with that I was talking to that was in jail. And he was upfront about it. Because some of them, they lie and they try and scam you. And like, they try to, what is it? Gaslight you to make you think you're crazy and they're not in jail, or like they'll even do that when they're like in another country, try and gaslight you and make you feel bad like you're in a relationship, and the whole time they're telling you they're here, they're just busy and all this stuff. So I'm thinking this man's like in jail or a scammer or something, because it's like, why would he get so angry? And it's like on the news they say Islam is the fastest growing religion in prison. And it's like, who doesn't know that? I've known that since I was a kid. Because it's like, whenever you meet somebody and they're getting out of prison, most likely, they're like, a lot of the time, they're like, oh, I'm Muslim and I'm so religious now. So it's like, this guy, he's just sending red flags. Then he's going off on me, telling me I'm a horrible person. Because that's the one thing that I've noticed with these guys that do this. They try and gaslight you and they try and make you feel bad, and they're like, you're a horrible person, no one should date you, no one will want you. But it's like they're giving off real incel vibes, because I can get a date. My DMs are filled up on the dating websites that I actively use. You're going off on me, freaking out on me, and it's like, I'm getting dates, you're not getting dates. I turn down dates, you can't get one. And it's like, I see why you can't get a date or someone that wants to spend time with you or whatever, because you're not a nice person. And it was like, I was just trying to figure out if you're a scammer, a criminal, or what. Because it's like, I want to know that before I go out with you so I can reject you before I know. Because if you're doing all this stuff, I don't want to be around you. Yeah. And then sometimes another thing, because guys will try and get you to agree to do things with them before you even meet them. And you're like, oh, will you do this with me and stuff? And I'm like, okay, this is awkward. But then sometimes, well, actually, thing I do, even if they don't do this, I will turn around on them to see, well, not to really turn around on them, because sometimes they'll do it and sometimes they don't. But then you check with another guy, and because, like, if you're talking to a guy and you want to see if he's like sleazy, like where he's trying to get you to agree, or if he expects something from you, a guy that says, oh no, I just want to take you out to dinner or spend time with you, I'm not trying to do anything with you, I don't know you. Because some guys will try and get you to agree to kiss them, make out with them, sleep with them before you even meet them. And it's like, okay, you agreed to this before we went out. And it's like, nope, I didn't agree to that. And then they try and do that. But one thing that I like is that I learned that guys do that. And saying to a guy, asking a guy before you go out with him, can I hug you? Can I kiss you? Can I smack your ass? Can I do this? Like stuff that guys do. You turn around on them, and then some guys are like, no, I just want to get to know you. And it's like, oh, I like this guy, maybe. But then again, you have to test it out, because that guy, he could know what he's doing and he learned not to do that, and he does the nice guy thing. But then he turns around and he does that when you see him in person, because it helps him seal in the date better if he's not trying to give you ultimatums before the date. So it's always good to check in with that, because I check in and see if they're going to try and get me to agree to doing something that I didn't want to agree to do before. And also check to make sure if they're a criminal, actively in jail or been to jail. Check to make sure if they have kids or hiding kids. Because I also ask, do you have kids? I ask, how many kids were you meant to have, to get an idea of, because some guys will admit their exes have had like a bunch of abortions with their kids, and it's like multiple people, and it's like, okay, I don't want to date somebody and all their exes are getting pregnant and they're aborting the children. And then because that's a red flag right there, because it's like, what's going on where all your exes are hanging out at the abortion clinic. And then I ask, how many children are you denying? That's always an important one. How many children are you actively denying? And how many people do you have pregnant? Yeah, because there was this funny thing one time. This guy on a dating site, he was on multiple dating sites and he kept matching with me, and he said he had no kids. I never went out with this guy, but then all of a sudden he pops up with the kid, and he's like, I have a 1 month old kid. And I'm like, okay, if you have a 1 month old kid, why are you dating? And it's like, okay, this is awkward. So it's always good to check those things. Um, yeah, and then I just randomly ask about STDs and stuff, because who knows who you're going out with. You meet somebody and then they try and kiss you or something, or who knows what's going on. Sometimes I'll throw out STDs. I'll ask all kind of questions, but like getting to know you questions before I go out with somebody. But then every now and then you have those moments where you're like, this guy is so cute, I went dumb, I didn't ask. But it's a scammer thing, because like there's this guy, I don't know, I feel like I've seen him before on dating sites where he's like tried to ask me out, and I didn't pay him any attention, because we're talking again, and I decided to talk to him. And I know, and we were talking, because I'm like, he was like, what's your job? And I'm like, oh, I do this. And he's like, what's your job? And I'm like, and he's like, oh, I do this. So I'm like, oh, so you have a part-time job. And that's another thing. Always ask about the job, because sometimes they're like, oh, I have a job and it's a part-time job. And with that part-time job, they have no health insurance, they have no benefits. And then it's like, okay, you have this part-time job, just what? It's like, where you get your benefits from? How do you afford to live? Because because this is something I've come across a lot where they say they have a job. They might have a part-time job, they might have no job, and then when they say they're a business owner is always a red flag. They'll say they're a business owner and they might sell something online, and you think, oh, they might be selling a lot of stuff on Amazon or something, because you see like those videos on YouTube where people are selling stuff and they're promoting their store, or they have a store, their online store or their physical store, and they're selling stuff. But like some of these guys, they're like, oh, I go to the Goodwill, I go buy something, I go wherever and buy something, and I sell it. And you do it like every now and then. They're like, oh, I make like $300 a month and I live with my mom. Or they're like, oh, I rent out a room. And then when you say what you do, because like I only work a few days a week, but I have a full time job. I can fit my hours into a full time job. And then if I want to, I have a whole nother career that I do on the side to make extra money if I want to. So, and then I get offered, and then I work as a private contractor and all this other stuff that I do. So, I always have work lined up. Sometimes I don't work during the week if I don't want to. I don't really work. It's like if I want to, but then I have a full time job. So, people are always assuming, what do you do? It's like I have a full time job. Sometimes I work during the week. If I don't work during the week, sometimes I'll hang out around and do stuff. I'll work on my gardening. I'll go on vacation. And that's the other thing. People think because I say I go on vacation so much that I'm rich. It's like, no, I have a full time job and I work as a contractor, and I have like on call jobs if I want to go, and a whole nother career, because I have like multiple careers because I went to school and studied a few things where I can do different things. And some of those jobs are flexible where I can work from home, I can work in person, I can work across the world from home, and I have jobs I go to in person. So I do all types of things where I can make a decent income. And sometimes I like to go to work because, like, you guys saw some of my vacation videos that I post, because I started posting more of my vacation videos because I just went on a vacation for like 2 months. And then people are like, oh, how did you do it? It's like, I never said I went on like this fancy, expensive vacation. I went on a vacation around, well, all over California. I went up and down California from the very top of the state to the bottom of the state. And then I went from California over to like Georgia, and then I went up to New York. And I made stops along the way, because you guys see in the videos, I've stopped along the way. I've gone places. I've shown you the videos, because there's tons of people who talk about their travel and how they travel on like Amtrak and Greyhound and different things. Because I realize a plane ticket is really expensive. I can go travel a long distance for like a good distance and stop in a few cities for like $100. So, because I said I like to go on trips every week or whenever I have time or when I want to go, people are assuming, oh, you're rich, you're spoiled. It's like, no, I bought a Amtrak ticket. I didn't go buy a plane ticket. I could go buy a plane ticket to LA. It'll cost me a couple of $100, maybe 1,000 or more. Anywhere be from a few hundred to a couple of to like 1,500 or who knows what, depending on what it goes. And then I've seen some tickets that are as low as like $50 or $60 to LA. I could do that and spend all this money on that ticket and then a hotel room. It's like I will get a nice hotel room, but on a budget. I will buy a cheap ticket to somewhere and stop along the way. And that's how I afford a vacation. I'm not going on a vacation spending like thousands of dollars a time, but I did spend a good amount when I went on the vacation around the US, Mexico, and Canada. That was a more expensive one because I went for 2 months, so I didn't stay at home at all for 2 months. But I take day trips and all different things you guys have seen. And some people will tell me, like when I say the things that I do, they're like, oh, you're a spoiled brat. Oh, you did this. It's like, if I want something and I know I want it, because I know I'm never going to own a home. So if I want something like to go on a trip or something, I have my regular job, which covers all my bills and then some. But then if I want to do something a little extra, I might go to work for a day or two, a week or a month extra to do those extra things I want to do. And then I also live alone and I have my own place and everything. And then people are like, "Oh, you're so spoiled. You're all this." And it's like, "No, I worked for everything that I have." And it's like, I don't think I have that much. Cuz I say all the time, like $100,000 is not that much money, especially in California. Like where I live, I'm technically considered in severe poverty, and $100,000 is not that much to be out of poverty where I live. Because I realized I didn't want to make more money and I wanted to work less and have fun and start going on trips more because it was like I made more money. But I decided I don't want to do that anymore because it was like I had my full time job, but then I would go to my side job full time. And then I'm like, yeah, I just buy a bunch of crap. And they say the millennial thing to do is to have experiences. So I would have experiences, but not as often now. I try to have an experience at least once or twice a month and go on a trip. But it's like the dating thing, and it's, oh, this other thing. It's like, it's like, I've had this happen to me a few times because, like, sometimes something might annoy me on my dating profile, and then I'll update my profile. And I'm like, this annoys me and everything. And it's funny because guys will just randomly ask me, do I have autism? And it's like, I work with people with disabilities. That's what I do. You have no experience working with people with disabilities. You just watch stuff and you hear stuff. But it's like I actually see things firsthand. And people are like, oh, do you have autism and stuff? And it's like, who does that? Who just randomly tries to ask somebody out and then tell them that they have autism and then try and make them feel bad to make them go out with you, because I don't understand why guys are doing that. And most of the time when I've seen guys do that, they tend to be white men that tend to be incels. I don't know. I'm not the best looking person. I'm not the thinnest person. I'm not trying to be. I've never said I was. I never said I was the baddest bitch. I never said anything. It's like my motto is I like to look my worst. Look your worst. That's my motto. Look your worst on a date, on a dating app. Look your worst. Look the worst possible. And that's how you know somebody likes you, because if you glam it up, fix your hair up, and it looks nice, you put on makeup, you put on nice clothes and everything, then you know that person likes you no matter what you look like. And it's like, I don't really glam up too much because I don't want to, but I keep it basic, simple. I like to look like if I can't sleep in it, like I want something where if I'm sitting on a park bench, I feel comfortable where I can sleep. I don't want to be like in something where it's like so uncomfortable, like some tight jeans and like 6-inch heels and like a bustier where if I can't like rest or sit or relax because I'm scared my boob might pop out or my heel might break or something. I want to be comfortable. I want to be real, because it's like I'm not going to be dressing like that every day with a full face of makeup and my hair done. That's just not me. So I don't see what's the point of faking it, because it's like, oh, I'll I don't understand why women will like do that. And then it's like with the makeup videos, you see these women and they're putting on all this makeup and they're doing this to look different. It's like, okay, do a before and after. I get that. And it's like you can see the trickery that the people do. And it's like, I'm not going to trick you. I'm not going to put on all this makeup and everything. It's like, I might show you what I could look like and what I look like. But I'm not going to go out on a date and go on dating sites where I do all this stuff. And then when you see me, it's like, oh, you look different. Yeah, I'm not doing all that. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be fake. I'm not going to be fake. I don't see the point, because it's like you show up and they're like, who the fuck are you? Look your worst. And if you have a day where you might look better on accident, then you know that person likes you for more than your looks. And it's like, I don't want to be just liked for my looks. And then another person said, like, people have said, because I say basically the way I look now, I'm going to still look pretty much the same as I look now, maybe a little bit. I might look a little bit older in like 10, 20 years, but I'm still, you're going to be able to look at my childhood pictures and then look at my face and go, oh, that's the same person. They just grew up and got a little older. Because it's like some people, I look at them, because you ever like see those people when it's like you see their childhood pictures and then you see them and then you're like, who is that? And you can't tell who that is. Because it's like once you're like when you're a child and you develop, like especially like when you're a teenager and it's like you develop into your adult face, it's like what, by the time you're like 30, 40, 50, you should still look like that picture to some extent. You might look a little bit older, but it's like when you're looking at the picture and you're like, oh, I can't even tell who that person is, even if they haven't had anything done. It's like, I want to date that person where it's like, I look at your childhood picture, like your teenage picture or whatever, and it's like, or your 20s picture, and I see you at 50 and I'm like, that's you. I don't want to see a picture where it's like I see you then and you look young and then like at 50 you're like gray-haired, wrinkled, and it's like I don't even know who this person is, and it hasn't been that long. It's like I had bad hair, I had I thought my clothes were cool at the time. I still think some of my clothes were cool that I wore as a teenager. But all that stuff, besides all that stuff, it's like ultimately look at your face and see, you can see that person when they're like 50. That's basically all I'm looking for, is somebody that basically looks the same. Because it's like, I watch like the Ghostbusters movie, like Ernie Hudson. It's like, I look at him from Ghostbusters and I look at him now. It's like, he's aged a little bit. It's like normal. And it's like, I know he's the same person. And it's like, he's not like dyeing his hair where it looks like he hasn't dyed his hair. It's like, you see the gray in his hair and everything. And it's just like these simple little things. I say these simple things. And it's like, I'm not even telling people to get Botox. I don't want to date somebody with Botox. And like, I don't want to date a guy that's dyeing his hair and stuff and all these other things. It's like, I just want to date somebody who's natural. Because there was like this one time I was walking down the street and this guy was talking to me. And I'm like, oh, this guy is cute. And it's like, because I was like real young at the time. And not like real young, I was like in my 20s. I'm still in my 20s, but this guy was talking to me and I'm thinking like, oh, this guy's cute. He's a little bit older. And then I'm talking to him because I didn't realize how old he was. I'm thinking this guy might be like in his 40s. This guy, he comes to me and he's like, he's 72. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can't date you. You're too old for me. But he looked good because it was like, I didn't know he was that old. And he's like, I'm 72. And he's like, oh, no, we don't age like that. I'm Italian. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, because it's like, not everybody ages where they're turning gray and wrinkled and everything. It's like, that's the, like, people try and push that persona. And it's like, that's not everybody. Yeah, because I'm way older than people think I am. But people look at me in the face and they're like, oh, you look young. Because it's always funny when I'm dating a guy who's a lot younger than me. Not like that much younger because I'm like in my 20s. So a guy that's younger than me, he's like in his, I'm in my later 20s. He's in like his earlier to mid 20s, but he might have like gray hair and like wrinkles and stuff where he looks older than me. And people are like, he's too old for you. Because he looks older than me, where he looks like he's in his late 30s or something sometimes. Because he might have like some gray hair, beard, and stuff. And people are like, he's too old for you. But it's like, I'm really older than him. So it's like always awkward. And then like this incel hate that I get. And it's like I'm open to going out with a guy that's cool, nice and cute. But then like these guys, they just like go off on you and it's like what happened? It's crazy. But this video is getting kind of long, so I'm going to end it there and I'll do some more talking videos because I wasn't able to do talking videos for a bit because I was on vacation and then I was sick for a bit and had a hard time talking. So I'm back and hopefully I'll be posting more videos with talking, dating, life tips, and everything. Yeah. So enjoy, watch, and subscribe. Bye.